Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Christy with Fantastic Finances, and I discuss velocity banking on this channel and help people get out of debt very quickly. Today I've been working with a client that has a lot of credit card debt and would like to see it go away. So we have been discussing the different scenarios that are available to him. In a previous video, I went over how he could start with his credit card alone, depositing his income in and his expenses out, and how quickly that his credit card debt would pay off with that scenario. I also discussed how he could take a savings account of $25,000 that he has and make that go even quicker. But right now I want to discuss if he were to get a first lien HELOC. He currently has a mortgage of $250,000 at a rate of 4.85% for 30 years. I used Carl's mortgage calculator to give him an idea of how much interest he is going to be paying over that 30 years if he stays in this mortgage. And the total payments would be $474,922.64. And the total interest he would pay is $224,922.64. So he literally bought his house and the bank house. So that's what we're trying to get away from, is paying all of the ridiculous interest. The idea is that his home value stands at about $500,000. If his appraisal came back at that and he had a 700 credit score, he could get a 90% loan to value on his home. He could obtain a $450,000 HELOC at 7%, and 7% seems really high, but we're going to show you the difference here. They would immediately come in and pay off the $250,000 mortgage, and there would be $200,000 remaining in his equity that he could use. So he could just pay off the mortgage alone, $250,000, leave it at that, do his income in, pull his expenses out, and he would have his home paid off very quickly. But with the $200,000, if he were to come in and get this car payment right here at $648 a month and pull this $25,000 American Express card at $783 a month, and he were to come over here and put it into this HELOC, it would bring his balance up to $307,000. So you're thinking, just like I am, that's a lot of money. But if he were to take his income in, pull his expenses out, even with this interest charge, this would be the high of what he would pay in his first month. But due to his balance would come down every month that he made his deposits of income, then his interest would come down, because with a HELOC, it's like a credit card, so you only pay interest on the balance owed. So as that balance comes down, his interest would come down. So I figured that if he took his HELOC, he paid off his home, he paid off his car, and he paid off the American Express, he would still have $143,000 sitting in equity in his home, but he would have this loan paid off in 5.91 years in just doing this strategy. That's income in, expenses out. Income in, expenses out. And that's even with adding in that $1,700 interest, which would not eventually be $1,700, because as you can see, it would go down every month because his balance is coming down every month. So his interest would just be charged on the balance of the account. They take an average daily balance, so they would average out what the balance has been throughout the month. They would charge the 7% interest. You could do that yourself. You would just take the high balance of $307,000 times 7%, divide that by 365 days, and then times that by 30 days, and that would give you what you would pay a month. I did an average here of these two because after his income deposit, the balance would go down to $294,310. I added those together, divided by 2, took that times 7%, divided by 365 times 30, and that's how I got the $1,729.50 a month. Now, mind you, on the American Express credit card, he is right now paying $369.66 a month in interest on this one credit card. And that the car loans are the same as a mortgage. They are amortized, so we would have to know what the rate is on that before we could figure that off as well. But that's also leaving his savings sitting. We haven't touched that. So any extra work he does, this 5.91 years can be cut way down. If he wants to use his savings, if he wants to throw more of his debt into the line of credit, he could do that. Whatever decisions he makes, it is his prerogative to go whichever way that he would like to go. I am just giving him options that he can take. We showed in the last video where he can start on one credit card and be done with them in about 8 months at a time, which is still a very quick way to get rid of high credit card debt. But this way, it lumps it all into one. You're throwing your income in, all of your expenses are coming out because they give you checks, they give you debit cards. You can use this just like your checking account. And if he just decided to use the HELOC to only pay off his home, so with leaving all of this debt on here except for his mortgage, he could have this $250,000 HELOC at 7%, paid off in 8.19 years. But if he comes in and he adds his debt into this HELOC, everything that he puts in brings his cash flow up. So right now he's at 2311. As he pays off the car loan, it'll go up. As he pays off the credit card one, it'll go up. If he pays off the American Express, it'll go up. Everything that goes into the cash flow comes into the HELOC and pays it down very, very quickly. So this 5.91 years could easily be cut down a lot if he comes in and throws his $25,000 savings into the American Express or whatever he wants to do just to cut that debt out. And he could really be out of debt, and you see, 5.91 years, that's very, very quickly. And I would be very tickled for him, and I think that he would be very happy to be free. Thank you for joining me today.